Jumbo Africa. Today we're coming live from the FarPost head offices. The last time I was here, there was a striker here. And the conversation was around Coach Navi way back in the time. But Mtho, we welcome you. Welcome back home in South Africa.
Asante.
Asante.
Asante sana kaka yangu.
Oh, Jumbo Africa. Those are the greetings that we are used to here on the African Football Connect. We've been courting you, trying to get you on African Football Connect for a very long time, but I don't think there could have been a better moment, Mtho, than now, especially when you talk about what has been happening in African football. You've just landed back from East Africa. You were based in Kampala in Uganda. I'm not sure if you went to your second home in Dar or even in Nairobi. But just to look back at this CHAN tournament, what can you say about what you've seen so far?
Look, thank you so much for having me. My debut on African Football Connect, such a joy. Look, it's been an incredible tournament, very interesting. You know, I was in Kampala, but also had my other eye in Kenya to see what Coach Benni was doing there, and also had my other eye there in Tanzania. You know, but I think it's been. There's a lot of talent in Africa. Quite interesting that there's been a lot of speculation in terms of player movements, you know, while the tournament is ongoing, you know, because scouts are watching, you know, overseas clubs are watching, you know, there's conversations going on around players that are actually playing in this tournament. So I think that's the importance of the CHAN. Very, very interesting so far.
So you actually... because I'm sure some of them even attend matches. You get to mingle a lot with some of the scouts?
Absolutely, absolutely. In Kampala, there is a player from Uganda who caught a lot of interest. You know, obviously you'd have conversations with the scouts there. There was a player as well from Guinea. I think 2 players from Guinea as well. There was about 3 clubs that were looking at them. So yeah, it's always interesting for you as a journalist because then you exchange contacts and you start following these players, you start following the clubs as well, just to see how far it will go.
Fellow?
Okelo. You know the story.
Got delay in the last game, eh?
Yeah. No. I mean, sweet left foot, very interesting player. You know, what he does with the ball is just incredible. I mean, I can whisper that young Africans were actually looking at him as well. He's a player that they could even go for in December.
And actually the boy, I think has just been unfortunate because he had a number of opportunities. And I think he's played outside Uganda before. I think at some stage he was even linked with Sundowns, I think. But I guess you also need these kind of tournaments to spark the revival. Yeah,
true. I think he had a stint in North Africa, but things didn't work out. Went back. Now plays in this CHAN tournament, and all of a sudden, he's being looked at by clubs, you know, all over the continent. Also South Africa as well. You know, there are clubs that are actually this boy. There could be something here. You know, in East Africa, they are looking at him. So this is the importance of this tournament, and I think that's why it must be taken seriously. I mean, you'd remember that before, during the qualifiers.
Yes.
I mean, someone like Jamie Weber had not played football for almost a year. I spoke to him recently, and he told me, he said, look, if it wasn't for this tournament, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I think that's the importance. You look at an McCarthy now, he's starting games because of this tournament. So that's the importance.
Yeah, actually, because Aiden, I mean, he was not in the picture. He was just a DDC player at Chiefs. And when he played those qualifiers, the CHAN qualifiers, then even the coach Nabi started to invite him to train with the senior team. And I remember even someone like Neo Mayema was also not in the picture at Sundowns, not even making match day squads.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he played in the Champions League final. Went on to play also in the FIFA Club World Cup. You know, so it's a tournament that has always revived you know, careers as well. And also even from Bafana Bafana's side, I mean, in this tournament, someone like Kutumela now possibly could even be playing in the CAF Champions League this season.
Look, quite interesting because I spoke to the coach, Coach Ntseki, after the first game, seeing Malibongo Khoza playing in midfield.
Yes. And I remember listening to your question there.
And he said to me, listen, this is a future Bafana Bafana player. I mean, the kind of quality that the young man showed, to a point that I had a conversation with a US-based coaches in the MLS, basically asked, so who's this boy? So I just gave him a bit of history about the boy. That look, Sundowns last season played him as a centre back. He played in about 27 games. It was his first season. Now comes into this tournament and he's playing in midfield and he's done exceptionally well. So it's very interesting conversation. You mentioning Kutumela, there is a lot of eyes all over him as we speak. So I think that's the importance of this tournament. We can't overemphasize it.
Poor Chipper, man, because this is a deal that could have been concluded before the CHAN.
Look, it's. I think it comes back to the issue of alignment. It must be clear as a club. I think Stellenbosch have done it very well. TS Galaxy are doing it very well. I mean, they're just above us. They've done it very well, where they've gotten players, brought them into a high performance environment, and these players, they go on. I mean, we were watching Sibilibili in the last two games, calling for.
I'm surprised most people are catching up to him now, and another player brought in even in the COSAFA Cup squad as well. And what I like with TS Galaxy is also that Sibilibili, even during the business of the season, they still avail Sibilibili to Bafana Bafana.
Exactly.
I think one of the CHAN qualifiers and then COSAFA.
True. So you look at that and you realize the importance of being aligned. I think the coach at TS Galaxy understands that here we're going to bring in this player from the first division, unknown. He's going to come in here and he's going to play and we'll sell him. We're going to go and get a player who is seemingly, who's being overlooked elsewhere. He'll come in here because of the environment, the way we play. He's going to be appealing to the next big team, And I think that's the reason Kutumela is not at. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, he's gone there to the CHAN and he's been scoring goals. I mean, everyone was asking about him and saying, but why is this? Why doesn't this guy have a club? People were asking me, and I'm like, look. It's football, man. Sometimes, these footballers just need opportunities. Give him an opportunity, put him on the field, he's going to score goals. And these goals that he scored, the CHAN, beautiful.
Quality goals. And I think the experience of having been at Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, you are exposed to CAF Champions League, even CAF Confed as well. A player with Olympic experience at international level has been there with Bafana as well. So I think really something here to be. But I'm also interested now in terms of just overall, in terms of the quality of football that you've witnessed in this tournament. Because what was more interesting with me, especially in the group that you were covering, if you look at Uganda, where they started, I think they opened with a 3-0 loss to Algeria.
To myself.
But they ended up topping the group.
Yeah. Look, the quality of football was exciting, man. Going to CHAN, anyone would have said to me, but where are you going there? This is just South Africa is taking 14 free agents, but the quality of the football was exceptional. The first game, Uganda loses 3-0, and I'm like, oh no, we can't have hosts crashing out in this manner, But they bounce back, in the next two games, they're scoring goals and they're not conceding any, They beat Niger, they beat Guinea convincingly. They fired 3 goals past the Guinea, without conceding. So I think that tells you they really bounced back, played some good football. I watched Guinea. And I said, after Guinea lost to Bafana, I said, we won the game, but they played the football. I enjoyed the passing game, But I think their biggest mistake was they when they got to the final third, they didn't take their chances. They still wanted to play it nice and
And I think there's a reason. There's a friend of mine, Tano Diallo, from Guinea, is based in Belgium, and. He always reminds me, that's why we're called the Brazil of West Africa. And you can tell with their football as well there. But I think From a South African point of view, what have you taken from this tournament? Yes, we went there with free agents, but how best can we use this tournament to develop? Because Coach Hugo Broos always emphasizes the importance of COSAFA and CHAN in building a future Bafana squad. Understanding the challenges that we have, that we cannot stop our league. I mean, I was looking this weekend. Sir Belouizdad and Coach Rolani's team, MCLJ, was supposed to open the league program in French Professional Ligue 1. You know, but they have to hold on because players are away. But what's the best way of accommodating this very important pathway of international football?
Look, I think it's a very important tournament. I think that can't be overstated. And I think it needs to be taken with a bit of seriousness because they are scouts.
100%.
They're looking at 100%. So from the association side, it needs to be taken from a coaching point of view. Who coaches this team? I still argue and say, if you've got an assistant coach, Helman Kalele, who's been understudying Hugo Broos, why is he not coaching?
Exactly, because that's what other national teams were there.
Yeah, so because if you're using this tournament to further develop your play and also broaden the pool of players that you have. I mean, we do know that Coach Hugo has a pool of plus minus 50 players that he's looking at. Why not? Of course, you're not going to take the cream of the crop. Why not bring in players that are also in that group that he's looking at, you know, to go and play in that kind of tournament, because then it gives them experience. Also, for a coach who's going to be sitting in the qualifiers, having watched these players, is able to give good feedback to the coach. So the association needs to take it seriously from that point of view. From a preparation point of view, you need to prepare for it. You know,
100%.
You obviously then need to have some sort of synergy between the association and the PSL in terms of accommodating this tournament, because it's an important tournament, just like COSAFA. It's a very, very important tournament because it revives the careers of these footballers. So there needs to be some sort of conversation, around how it's managed. You may want to look at a scenario where you probably even take your under-23s, because these are players that are almost ready to get into the senior national team. There's not too many activities for under-23s. This could be an opportunity to bring in those players, but with a coach who sort of...
Yeah, the only challenge is that when it's international week, because all these under-20, under-23 players, they're also key players now in PSL clubs and sometimes. Yeah. So I really hope that in future we can really find this. I want to come... we're still in conversation with the FarPost editor here, Mthokozisi Dube. He's just returned from the CHAN tournament. Benni McCarthy, I look at the crowds at Kasarani Stadium where they were playing. I also just look at the mood. I watched this game against Morocco. I think they played almost the entire second half with one man down, but still, and the way they were driving that game, the defensive structure, everything there, and looking in comparison with players who are coming from USM Alger, in fact, not USM Alger, but two players who are coming from Raja Casablanca, Wydad Casablanca, RS Berkane, Asfa, and I'm like, Coach Benni has done something with this team.
Yeah, no, I think considering, it's my team's first time that we are in this predicament. We're in the quarterfinals. I think it's very calm in camp. I think everyone's probably just soaking up the atmosphere and what they've achieved, but we know there's still much more hard work to come from this, and team will be ready for tomorrow. So today we have our last training sessions where we just work on last bits for tomorrow. But I think calmness is what we need. It's good that the occasion don't get to become too big for the players, so that we keep our feet on the ground and we stay humble and we just enjoy the ride that we're on. and I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully, we can do ourselves and our families proud again, but most of all, the nation, the fans that came out and support the team incredibly well, and part of the reason we are in this situation, because we had the best support we could have hoped for. So tomorrow it's our turn to deliver and hopefully give them even an extra bit of joy to advance. But football is never easy, so we know we've got a tough opponent ahead of us, but I think we'll be well prepared, and we focus on ourselves. So come tomorrow, we know what we have to do, and we know what we want to achieve, but our opponent stands in our way, so we have to have the perfect game plan, the perfect execution if we're going to make Kenya happy and enjoy the tournament further. Yeah, of course, we've done our homework on our opponents, so we know their strengths, and we also know where they maybe not as strong. And that, but I think the group stages we've been in, it's been a hard-fought group. There's almost been no rest for the team, because every team we had to face is probably equally as strong to win the Chan tournament. So yeah, it's really been a tough time, and we kind of surpassed that, and now it's only going to get tougher. So I think it depends on how well we prepared and how mentally ready my team will be. And as long as we go onto the field knowing that we give 100% and we play to our full potential that everybody knows in the team that they have, then it's something positive can come from this, because I think after the test that we faced in our group stages, there's not really a team that we're kind of afraid of anymore, or that we think our chances are slim against the teams, because yeah, when you face DRC, Angola, Morocco and Zambia, it's a tough task, and you say to yourself, like, our chances is slim to none, but we proved ourselves and everybody else as well that we are well capable of surpassing this. So whoever comes next will be a really good challenge, and we just try and focus on ourselves, what we have to do, and yeah, that it will be good enough for us to maybe advance to the next stage. Our expectations is very high. We set the goal for ourselves before the tournament started. We analyzed our group stages and the teams we could possibly face if you advance to the group stages. Not that we're looking that far ahead, but I think as a team, if you don't have goals, if you don't have certain expectations of yourself, then you give yourself just shortcomings. You don't think that you would reach far. So for our goals, when we get to our destination, you will know what our goals was, but from everybody in the squad, we know exactly what we want to achieve and where we want to be. And Madagascar will just be another obstacle in our way to achieving what we want to achieve. But we know in football nothing is given. No matter what we've done previously, Morocco, Angola, DRC, Zambia is forgotten now. Now we have to focus and face our next obstacle, and I think we'll prepare as best as we can, because us falling short to what we want to achieve, our goals, will only depend on ourselves. How well and how hard we want to work will all be down to us, and if we want to win the game, we have to be 100% prepared and ready, and make sure that the opposition doesn't outclass us on the day of the match. That is our goals, and And for the future, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't look too far into the future. But I think for now, it's just to enjoy the moment and enjoy working with the players and seeing them excel at where they've been and where they are at the moment. And we'll assess once the tournament is finished in terms of where we reached our targets, or if we've fallen short, then what we still have to do to improve, and then we'll see where our destination leads us.
Very interesting, because from Kampala I went to Nairobi, and I spent time there. I obviously wanted to, because I could feel there's something happening in Nairobi. And I spoke to a colleague, a journalist colleague, who works for Nation Media Group, and he said to me, I can't remember the last time we felt like this about our national team. I said, what do you mean? He says, it's been long since we last felt this way about the national team. I'm like, no, man, tell me more. He says, Benni has changed the mentality of this national team. Wow. He has totally changed these boys. So for them, it's a big thing that they've gotten into a quarterfinal of a CHAN. It's a massive, massive thing. And he was even explaining to me, he says, no, he couldn't get all the players that he needed, obviously because of movements now. But he spoke about them, and I think I witnessed it. You look at the fact that they played a game for 70 minutes with one man down. Wow. And they still were able to get a result, I mean, they play with one man down again. This is 2 successive games, playing with one man down, but still being able to hold their own and win a game. I think that's too incredible. But very interesting, Ryan Ogam, the striker, I think he's 21. He plays for Tusker. Yes. I spoke about him, I think, last season. Yes. And I told someone in South Africa, I said, you must watch that striker. He's done exceptionally well. He's scored 2 goals, in this CHAN. So there's a lot that Benni is doing, but I think the big thing is that they've taken his mentality. He's a fighter. Yes, the team is actually. They've actually taken that mentality of fighting and getting results. So something really nice that's cooking there in East Africa with Benni McCarthy.
There's a player I'm trying to see here, because there's this boy who plays. He was one of the players. Who's this boy, man? I think he was also a man of the match in one of the games. I'm just trying to check his name. Is a left-footed central midfielder.
That's for Kenya.
I'm telling this boy. Manzoor. Yeah, Manzoor. One of the things, I was also at the under-20 AFCON, and what struck me about Coach Benni, in fact, even the technical team that I was engaging there, is how close he was to their preparations and looking at them. And I remember listening in one of his first press conferences in this game and in this tournament, talking about how he used a player like Manzoor. Originally, I think is a left back, but he pushed him
into midfield.
Into midfield, and he was immense for him. And now this is where you see that even his vision is beyond that than just this CHAN tournament, as we know that they're also preparing for AFCON 2027.
Look, very interesting when you say this, because this colleague I was speaking to said to me, I'm really worried that Benni may leave us soon. I'm like, no. So I said, no, he's not going to leave. He sees it's a project. He probably would want to be the host.
Of those Orlando Pirates rumors, I think they unsettled them.
They unsettled them a lot. But I said, look, it's a project. He would definitely want to be a host. Because, look, anything is possible.
Yes.
He's still got that time, the next 2 years to sort of, build his squad. But the interesting thing is also the involvement of government. I saw him at the State House speaking to the president, and the president, offered them some,
the bonuses,
good bonuses, So I just saw him just engaging at the State House just about how important that was in terms of carrying the team when they were 1 minute down, needing to hold on and get a result, So I think, and it's quite rare, to see. Yes, it happened. Uganda as well. I think they had the same kind of incentive from the president. The hosts as well, Tanzania co-hosts. There was similar incentives, for them. So, but I think it's a beautiful thing that he's building this project, and there seems to be the backing of the government. There is a lot of Kenyan talent, across the world. Surely, when he now fuses what he has now at Chan with some of these talents that are, outside Kenya, I think it's gonna be a very, very good team.
Yeah, I want us to go to quarterfinals now and do some penalty shootout type. I want to go to penalties and just look at the quarterfinals in terms of the predictions and stuff. But before I go there, another team very close to your heart. The Taifa Stars. Yes. How have you seen them during this tournament? Because one of the things that I've always been saying about Chen is that it's a reflection of how strong are the national leagues. What have you made of their performances? Maybe not in a tough group. They were not in a tough group as Kenya, because Kenya was in a very tough group on paper, and so was Uganda as well. But Taifa Stars?
Look, I think they've held their own. Obviously, the group wasn't as tough, but they've done their business nice and early. They were the first they were the first country to qualify rather for the quarterfinals. But you can see, when I look at the growth trajectory of someone like Clement Mzize, he's on demand everywhere. Esperance, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. He's wanted. But when you look at his trajectory, from the time Nasreddin Nabi introduced him to the team to now, you can also see the influence of the foreign players that he's played with. People like Aziz Ki, he's played under Fiston Mayele, sort of understudied him. Now he comes into a Tanzania team and literally carries the team. I think he scored 3 goals, and very important goals, which booked them their qualification. You look at the influence of when you look at that squad, the influence of players from Azam, people like Faisal Saloom, very influential in that midfield. You look at Shabalala Mohamed Hussein. He's just crossed the floor.
He's gone to Younger now.
Yeah. Also scored one of the goals, very, very important. Kapombo as well, coming in, Simba player. So you look at the influence of players from those teams in that squad, very important. Those are teams that have invested heavily. They've brought in high quality foreign players, and I think it's also done something to sort of push the levels of the local players, and they've got a very competitive team at this point. They go into the quarterfinals with belief that they can beat anyone. So very, very interesting when you look at them.
I want us to quickly go to the predictions now. On paper, Kenya against Madagascar. That's the first quarterfinal in Nairobi. What are you making of that one?
Look, I'll give it to Kenya. I think the way they've fought to get to where they are, I'll give it to them. But a narrow scoreline, they don't score too many goals. Yes. You look at them, I think they score 1 goal. They don't score too many goals. Yeah. So, a narrow win for them.
I think I will agree with you on that one. Tanzania, Morocco?
Tanzania, Morocco is going to be a very difficult one. I'll give it to Morocco. I'll give it to Morocco.
It's tight.
It's going to be a narrow one, though, as well. Yeah.
Possibly if the Dar fans can drive, because on paper I feel that Tanzania has got better players than Kenya, you know.
True.
But it takes more than just, you know.
Also just playing as a unit,
Yes.
which is one thing that Benni has been able to do with that squad. He's been able to sort of create a team that's strongly united. They play for each other. I mean, if you're going to play for 70 minutes and you have one man down, bro, surely you must cover for each other. So I think that could be maybe the difference.
Uganda, Senegal, very interesting.
Very interesting. I'd give that on to Senegal. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I saw the environment in that stadium is insane.
Wow.
The Nelson Mandela Stadium is crazy. Those people, the way they back their team, it's not going to be easy for Senegal, but they will win it.
Yeah, and had Bafana managed the game better, you know,
absolutely,
things could have been different.
Yeah. I mean, look, you have 7 minutes. You can't be defending deep. You just need to manage the game very well. You know, they've got the quality to. We saw it in the first half. You know,
Yes.
knocking the ball around and just manage the game away from your half.
Yes.
if possible. So yeah.
And the last one, Sudan and Algeria. And I think we're talking about quality here. And one of the things when I was talking to Coach Kwesi Appiah when he was here was that the difference here is that he's got players from Al Hilal and Al Merrikh. Al Merrikh, a team that could possibly face Pirates in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And for me, this is the difference here.
Yeah. Look, I think Chan is reflective of the strength of these leagues. And we also see it in the Champions League, in CAF Champions League, in CAF Confed as well. I think Sudan do have some, good quality, but I saw Algeria as well. Very mature, in the way they play. I would, if I were to put my head on the block, I'd give it to Algeria, based on how I saw them.
I was just surprised that Algeria, after their start, I look at their last 2 matches against Guinea and Niger, but that group was tough.
It was difficult.
It's easy to see it on paper, but as it turns out, it's something totally different. No, but good to see you back in the country. But are you not disappointed that we are not aggressive, especially from a South African point of view, in terms of our clubs in scouting this league, in fact, this tournament?
It's disappointing, man, because this is where these young talents, a lot of these teams. I mean, I was looking at the Guinea squad, the talent in that squad, crazy. This Camara boy, the winger, I think he's 19. So that squad, I'm telling you, a lot of the players are under the age of 23. Probably in the team that started against Bafana, had 8 players who were under the age of 23. High quality talent, and this is where teams should be going to scout for talent. I mean, we've spoken before. Yves Bissouma was scouted by Sundowns.
Exactly, from this tournament.
Yeah, from this tournament, but ended up.
And look at him now.
Yeah, ended up going to France.
To France,
eventually. Now he's in the EPL.
I mean, there was a £15 million offer even now for him.
So this is where South African clubs should be going to find talent. I mean, and it doesn't cost much.
No,
it doesn't cost much to get to a Kampala or a Tanzania.
I think our clubs needs to grow in this space. But I think I'll be making a big miss if, organizational-wise, what has been your take? Because this is the PAMOJA, as the 3 countries, and also the actual tournament in the bid was known. The big takeaway here has to be their preparations for 2027. What's the takeaway from?
Look, I think credit must be given to the 3 countries. I think they've done fairly fine, right, from an organization point of view. But I would have concerns, I mean, with what happened in Kenya, obviously, the ticketing issue.
The security. And CAF had to come in there.
Yeah, so that would be a big issue for me, which they are hosting the final. So it needs to be managed much better. Then secondly, maybe my experience in Uganda. Frustrating. I think the most frustrating thing for me was, as a journalist, I'm here to do my work. I'm a football journalist. I'm here to do my work. The amount of searching that you would go through, it was,
what kind of search is this?
Army officials, all over the stadium. But as you get into the stadium, my laptop is taken from my laptop bag is taken from me. I'm told to take out my laptop, take it out. I'm told to log into my laptop.
Log in?
Yeah.
What is that?
What are you looking for in my laptop? You know, like, I mean, come on.
Because, we know that the laptop, they go through the scanner and all those things. But log in.
It's even worse than
And then
that.
when we've logged in, what do they do?
Log in and go and stand over there.
You log in and then you leave it with them?
I leave it with them. I go and stand over there and I don't know what they're looking for in my laptop. I'm like, but what are you looking for? You know?
The M7 things.
No, it just didn't make sense to me. But look, and I was actually even just thinking, and I think I called you the first day it happened. I said, but Chairman, this is what is happening here.
Yeah.
I can tell you, journalists will be frustrated if they have to go through that in 2027. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening.
We've been to AFCONs, Egypt, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire. You don't get this kind of things.
No. I was speaking to a photographer who tells me they were on the verge of opening their camera and scrolling through the pictures. I'm
man.
I'm telling you. And luckily someone from CAF then came and they said, no, you're not going to do this to this person. So, for me, that was the most frustrating.
And I'm sure this is something you're going to communicate to CAF.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important information for CAF to know as we prepare for 2027.
Yeah,
you don't want a scenario where people are frustrated everywhere.
No, because this is an international tournament. You know, if that's how they are treating their citizens, but they must not extend this to an international tournament.
Visitors,
yeah. But I need to make a quick dash to the PSL. But before I leave you, because when I arrived here, you were working on a big story.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because I remember, I think the day that he left camp, and I wrote a story. Ribeiro has actually left the Sundowns camp in Rustenburg, obviously pushing for a move because there is interest from a number of clubs, Prominence and Qatar FC, the clubs that were really pushing for him.
That was former team.
Now it's gotten to a point where he has written a resignation letter to the club and then referred the matter to the FIFA tribunal. So this is a first. You know, I can't remember too many cases to refer to.
No, straight to FIFA like that.
Yeah.
And this is the latitude that players from outside South Africa can do. And unfortunately, when it comes to player status, FIFA is very quick to step in that space.
Yeah.
But what do you see happening here? Because there's a standing contract. What seems to be the gist of his grievance?
Look, there is a standing contract, which is what obviously then complicates it. And I'm sure Sundowns have honored every bit of that contract that they have with him. But his feeling is that they've not. There's been offers for him, but they've not really, sort of engaged, these clubs in earnest. But obviously, Sundowns I was speaking to someone at Sundowns, they were just explaining to me that, look, when we sign a player from overseas, you look at the kind of fees that we will pay, When a club now wants him, it must make financial sense for us, So the financial sense, what makes financial sense for them, the player would be looking and thinking, but I want to go. There is an offer for me. It doesn't really...
And according to him, maybe that offer is a market value. And the other issue is that, yes, Sundowns is paying these big monies for these players sometimes, but are those amounts that they are paying market values? Or it's them who go way above, and then now when the players have to be bought,
it becomes difficult. It will always be difficult because you look at the amounts that Sundowns pay. I mean, so many times I've looked and I'm thinking, okay, Arthur Salis, plus minus 60 million rand.
Yeah. So would you say in this sense, Ribeiro, this is coming back to haunt Sundowns?
Yes, absolutely, because look, you've paid way over the market value, and also the kind of salaries that you'd be paying to these players. You now need to factor that into the transfer fee when whoever comes wants to sign the player. It becomes difficult. This is why it's impossible for players to leave Sundowns to other. They need to sacrifice. If a player is to leave Sundowns, I'm terminating. I'm going to another team.
And we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah. It's very difficult.
So the difference now is that this is playing itself on the international stage.
On the international stage and at FIFA.
At FIFA.
So, yeah.
And I think knowing some of the reasons, it's not a good look for Sundowns for this to be happening at FIFA at this stage. They've just came back from the FIFA Club World Cup, and also there are other reasons that we cannot talk about. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah.
Because Sundowns must always be seen as the model. Club. But having said that, also the player for the way Sundowns has transformed him from just a player who was there in the Dutch, in fact in the Belgian second division. It's not a good look also when he's taking Sundowns to that direction without exhausting the internal remedies.
Yeah, look, the internal remedies would delay him.
Okay.
Look, we've seen. It's never easy for a lot of these players to leave. Of course, they don't always get that attention that Ribeiro is getting, obviously, because of his status and what he did at the FIFA Club World Cup and where he comes from and the clubs that are looking for him. It's never easy for these players to leave.
But I also think that this is not a good reflection on the Sundowns. When you look at the number of players who are going, who are alleged to be going through something similar. I mean, there was a talk of 25 million rand offer for Maseko, and also the Mudau situation as well. Litlako also writing a letter to put on a transfer request as well. I don't think, and this is all happening in the same way, and we heard from Coach Cardoso that he's not comfortable with this thing.
There's quite a number of players that you can see just being away, going to a China. I mean, I think there was about 4 Sundowns players. Neo Mayema, who's since parted ways with the club. You could sense the frustration. Terence Mashego, just speaking to him, you could see the happiness being away.
The Ighodaro situation, I saw what you wrote about that. But I heard that he was even prepared to take Sundowns to court.
No, he was even prepared to go that route because, look, and I spoke to him last year, just before he joined Amazulu, and he was just expressing how difficult it is for him. I belong to Sundowns, but he's thinking, I need a fair chance to go and prove myself. I've never gotten the chance to prove myself. But at the same time, I can't move to a club where I can actually have 2-3 seasons, get used to my teammates, play with them, and show what I'm capable of. Which makes a lot of sense because, look, if you're a striker, you're moving from one club to the next, it's going to affect you. Now when it's time for him to move, it becomes a big problem. Now you have to fight. He's missed a whole preseason, just trying to fight to go where he wants to play football, So, but luckily for him, issue was resolved before it went to...
How do you see this Ribeiro one panning out?
Look, it's difficult because I was trying to look for references to see if there's been similar cases. I can't really find
myself and
cases, and so it's something that we need to watch and see and sort of learn from. I'm sure a lot of players would be looking, for the future. They're at Sundowns as well.
I saw a lawyer friend saying, "Let the lawyers make money, man." And we've seen a lot of this. Dube Mtende, you are back. Is Chiefs done in the market?
Look,
according to your knowledge,
we could still see maybe one more coming in.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. Interesting
player. We need to keep a close eye.
Or interesting players.
Very interesting. I think they've done some good business.
I think there's some serious good balance in their squad now.
Yeah, they've addressed the problems. Left back was a problem. The coach, I remember your story where the coach says, I want a specialist left back. Now they have a specialist left back. Soshinga, they have a specialist left back. Pasika Marco, you know, needed cover on the right for Frosler. You know, they've brought in, you know, Tabiso is doing very well. Munyan is doing really well for them. They've brought in Veleba. I've heard good things from his new teammates that he's doing crazy things in training. You know, Ighodaro comes in as well to compete.
The attack has been addressed.
There's young Naleti Hlongwane who's seemingly exciting the coaches there.
There's Bure.
There's Bure as well, who's, you know, we know the future of the boy is really bright. Maybe they still need to probably get a CDM, because I see, okay, when you play Ox there, you know, sometimes it limits you in terms of what he does, you know, with the ball, when he wins the ball. I see they've tried playing Thabo there, but maybe they need that, you know, a proper CDM. I'm not saying this player, in the mold of Aucho, what Aucho did for years for young Africans. Of course, his left is now at Singida, but just the ability to win the ball, detect the tempo, you know, play it and make the team play.
Make the team play.
That kind of, I don't know who, but yeah.
Box to box things.
Box to box.
Dube Mtenda, we've spoken about Chen. Welcome back home, and I'm sure nabantwana bajabule kakhulu ekhaya ukuthi ubuyile. So fina sihambe kodwa manje. We need that 6 points in Bloom.
We promised the Super Eagles we're gonna take them to Bloom.
Yeah. So yes, we've spoken about the Ribeiro situation. Expect it to be a hot story over the next few days, and also maybe Amakosi, 1 or 2 more signings, I don't know, but you know him. Umlomo ongakhulumi amanga.